Today, we're counting down the top 10 horror movies that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. Ready to get spooked? Let's go. Number 10, Martyrs. The story begins with Lucy, a young woman who escapes from prolonged torture as a child. Years later, she embarks on a violent quest for revenge against those she believes were responsible for her abduction and abuse. Her best friend Anna accompanies her on this journey, but as the plot unfolds, it becomes clear that the horrors they are about to face are far worse than anything they could have imagined. Lucy's revenge leads them to a seemingly ordinary family, but after a brutal confrontation, Anna uncovers a secret underground society dedicated to discovering the mysteries of life after death through torture. The society believes that extreme suffering can produce martyrs, individuals who have glimpsed the afterlife. As Anna becomes the next subject of their cruel experiments, the film delves deeper into the brutal exploration of pain and the limits of human endurance. It has a 7.0 rating on IMDb and is available on Tubi and Apple TV. Number 9. The Descent is a claustrophobic horror thriller that follows a group of 6 adventurous women who venture into an unexplored cave system in the Appalachian Mountains. The group, led by Sarah, who is grappling with personal tragedy, seeks adventure and bonding through their caving expedition. However, things quickly spiral out of control when a cave collapse traps them underground, cutting off their exit route and leaving them lost in a maze of tunnels. As the women search for a way out, they realize they are not alone. The cave is home to terrifying humanoid creatures known as crawlers, blind but highly adapted to the dark environment. What follows is a tense, heart-pounding fight for survival as the group is hunted by the creatures while dealing with growing tension and fear among themselves. It has a 7.0 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon and Apple TV. Number 8. The Babadook. The story revolves around Amelia, a widowed mother struggling to raise her troubled 6-year-old son, Samuel. Samuel becomes obsessed with a monster he believes is lurking in their home after they discover a disturbing children's book titled Mr. Babadook, which tells the story of a sinister creature that torments its victims once they are aware of its existence. As Samuel's behavior grows increasingly erratic and violent, Amelia's exhaustion and stress mount. Soon, strange and terrifying occurrences begin happening in their home, suggesting that the Babadook may not just be a figment of Samuel's imagination. As the presence of the Babadook intensifies, Amelia is pushed to the brink of her sanity, and the film skillfully blurs the line between psychological breakdown and supernatural horror. It has a 6.8 rating on IMDb and is available on Netflix and Shudder. Number 7. It Follows. The story centers on Jay, a young woman who, after a seemingly innocent sexual encounter, finds herself cursed with a supernatural entity that relentlessly pursues her. The entity, which can take the form of anyone, follows her at a walking pace, and if it catches her, it will kill her. The curse is passed through sexual contact, and the only way to escape it is to pass it on to someone else. As Jay grapples with the terrifying reality of being constantly hunted, she enlists the help of her friends to figure out how to survive. The entity can only be seen by the person cursed, adding to the mounting paranoia and fear as Jay tries to stay ahead of the slow but unstoppable force. The film focuses on the tension and psychological terror of never knowing when or where the entity will appear, creating an eerie atmosphere throughout. It has a 6.8 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon and Shudder. Hey, if you're loving the list so far, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. That way you won't miss any of our top picks here on Flickzone. Thanks, and let's get back to it. Number 6. Eden Lake is a brutal and suspenseful British horror thriller that follows a couple, Jenny and Steve, as they embark on a romantic getaway to a remote lake. Steve plans to propose to Jenny during their peaceful weekend escape, but their idyllic trip takes a dark turn when they encounter a group of hostile teenagers led by the menacing Brett. What begins as a minor confrontation quickly escalates into a horrifying ordeal when the teens vandalize the couple's car and steal their belongings. As Steve confronts the group, the situation spirals out of control, leading to a violent clash. The couple soon finds themselves relentlessly hunted through the woods by the teenagers, who seem intent on torture and sadistic games. Jenny is forced to summon all her strength and survival instincts to try and escape, as the situation becomes increasingly desperate and violent. It has a 6.7 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon. Number 5. Sinister is a terrifying supernatural horror film that follows true crime writer Ellison Oswalt as he moves his family into a new home, hoping to reignite his career. Unbeknownst to his wife and children, the house was the site of a gruesome murder where an entire family was hanged in the backyard. Ellison, driven by the potential for a best-selling book, stumbles upon a box of disturbing old home movies in the attic, each depicting the brutal murders of different families. As Ellison delves deeper into the footage, he begins to notice a mysterious figure, later identified personified as Bughul, a malevolent ancient deity who uses the films to manipulate and consume the souls of children. Strange and horrifying events begin to unfold in the house, and Ellison's grip on reality weakens as he uncovers the connection between the murders and Bughul's influence over innocent families. It has a 6.8 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon. Number 4. The Witch is a chilling and atmospheric horror film set in 17th century New England. The story follows a Puritan family who, after being exiled from their village, settle on the edge of a dark, foreboding forest. As they struggle to survive in isolation, strange and unsettling events begin to plague them, and tensions within the family rise. The eldest daughter, Thomasin, becomes the focus of suspicion as their crops fail, their infant son vanishes, and their livestock behave erratically. As paranoia and fear of witchcraft grip the family, they begin to turn on each other, believing that a malevolent force is at work. The film's tension is driven by the family's deeply religious worldview and their fear of the unknown. Thomasin, caught between her family's distrust and the sinister happenings around them, must navigate the growing hysteria and the possibility that something evil truly resides in the nearby woods. It has a 7-point rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon. Number 3. Thirst is a dark and provocative South Korean horror drama that tells the story of Sang-hyun, a devout Catholic priest who volunteers for a medical experiment aimed at curing a deadly virus. The experiment goes horribly wrong, and Sang-hyun contracts a mysterious illness that turns him into a vampire. Struggling with his newfound thirst for blood, Sang-hyun is torn between his religious beliefs and his violent primal urges. As he grapples with his moral dilemma, Sang-hyun becomes involved with Tae-ju, the wife of his childhood friend. What begins as a forbidden romance soon spirals into a complex relationship filled with passion, violence, and guilt. Tae-ju, oppressed by her stifling domestic life, embraces Sang-hyun's vampiric powers, and together they descend into a world of bloodlust and moral corruption. It has a 7.1 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon. Number 2. Triangle is a psychological horror thriller that follows Jess, a young woman who embarks on a sailing trip with friends. After a sudden storm capsizes their boat, the group is forced to take refuge on a seemingly abandoned ocean liner that appears mysteriously out of nowhere. However, once aboard, Jess begins to experience unsettling deja vu, and it soon becomes clear that something is horribly wrong. As they explore the ship, strange events unfold, and the group is stalked by a masked killer. Jess realizes that they are trapped in a time loop, where the events on the ship keep repeating with slight variations. Each time the loop resets, the same deadly cycle begins again, with Jess desperately trying to figure out how to break free while grappling with her growing sense of dread and confusion. It has a 6.9 rating on IMDb and is available on Amazon and Shudder. Number 1. The Orphanage is a haunting Spanish horror drama that follows Laura, a woman who returns to the orphanage where she was raised, intending to reopen it as a home for disabled children. She moves in with her husband and their adopted son, Simon, who soon begins to exhibit disturbing behavior, claiming to have made invisible friends. As strange occurrences escalate and Simon disappears under mysterious circumstances, Laura becomes consumed with finding him. As Laura searches for answers, she uncovers dark secrets from the orphanage's past, including the presence of a tragic and vengeful spirit. The lines between reality and the supernatural blur, and Laura must confront the possibility that something otherworldly may be connected to her son's disappearance. It has a 7.4 rating on IMDb and is available on Paramount+.